What's up, guys? Average Kiwi Guy here. How y'all doing? So I just got back from Dunkirk, and I'm very torn, right? Because like everything is telling me that this thing is like a cinematic masterpiece, right? It really is. But it's something that I don't think I could watch too many times. I really don't. Like it's very intense. It's a very intense kind of very real war movie that doesn't have the gore. I will say that it does not have the gore. But it has some aspects to it that we'll get into that can make it very tricky to follow. It's very loud. And it has some background music that we'll get into as well. So I'm very torn. So hopefully as I do this review, I will probably find out what I truly think about this film. Because I want to really like it. I really do. I want to really like it. And it deserves that. It really does. But I don't know if it was just my viewing experience or what. Maybe, I don't know. But we'll get into it. But first up, I just want to let you guys know there will be no spoilers in this section, in this review at all. I don't even think I'll do a spoiler section. It's not really that type of movie. It doesn't have that. There's no we know the story of Dunkirk. Or if you don't, you should look it up because it's a very important piece of history. It's just not that type of movie. So I won't spoil it for you because, I want you guys to go out and see the film. But I don't think it's worth a spoiler section because I don't think it's that type of movie. All right? Okay, so no spoilers. All right. This movie, the way this movie works, right, is it follows three stories. Three stories that happens over three different time periods. Well, it's in the same time period, but it happens over three time lengths, I should say. So there is the story that happens on the beach, as you see a lot in the thing, that goes over the course of a week. Then you have the story of the civilian fleet coming over, the guy on the boat. You see him in the trailers and stuff. That's over a day. So that story happens over a day. Then you have the squadron, the Spitfire squadron that you see in the planes, if you don't quite know the terminology. And the planes, that happens over an hour. Okay? So these three stories happen simultaneously through the movie at their own time, like sort of their own pace, their own speed. And they all interlink and all interlace with each other, which means they cut from one to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And it goes backwards and forwards in time. It goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. If you are someone who doesn't like that and who struggles to keep up with that sort of stuff, you might not like this film. You might not like it. It's the way the story works is very unique, and it's not very a typical way the typical movie will run. This movie is not like Saving Private Ryan. It's not that type of war movie. It is, it's very unique in the way its story runs and the way its characters are. And also, there is very little dialogue in this film. Very little dialogue. Probably what you've seen in the trailers is majority of the dialogue. Okay? There's obviously a little bit more. I'd say about a quarter of this movie's dialogue. The rest is all just the scenes playing out. The scenes playing out and just these things happening and stuff like that. It is very much that way. And a lot of the time, there's no need for the dialogue. There's no need for it because it would just kind of ruin what's happening. You don't need some dramatic speech going on as it happens. No. Like I said, this is a very real, very, authentic war movie. It's very much that. And like I said, though, it doesn't have that gore. I don't think I saw a drop of blood. I don't think I saw a drop of blood. Maybe like the old guy has a scrape on his face or something like that. But that's it. So yeah. So it has that. Okay. And to be honest with you, I can't even remember the names of the guys that the actual characters in this film. Because the way the film works, it's not really like who the character is, it's what the character does and their actions and everything like that. Like I said, there doesn't have much dialogue, so you gain that connection with them and by what they do, not by what they're saying. So it's, yeah. That's why I'm so confused about this movie, because it's not like other movies. It's not that way. And and that's what we kind of expect from Christopher Nolan. Nolan, he does these movies that, kind of breaks the mold. It breaks the mold in what we expect the movies to do. And like some Interstellar and Inception and all that, he breaks those molds. And he's like probably either the best director at the moment or in that very small group up the top of best directors. He really is. He just has, he has these ways of making these movies just mind-blowingly like cinematic masterpieces that just have like they're very unique places in like sort of, the cinematic world. And you got to respect it. And it's very apparent in this one. It's very apparent. It's very, it's very good in that way. The cinematography, the camera work, everything fantastic. Everything is so authentic. Like the ships, obviously the uniforms, the guns, the sounds, the planes, the dog fighting, everything. It's very authentic. It's very like they put a lot of effort into saying we're not gonna, dramatize stuff up. We're not gonna, use CGI everywhere. They only used it in places that they had to. But everything is like, no, we're gonna find the real planes. We're gonna do real stuff. We're gonna get real boats. Go to the real place. Go to all this. Boom, boom, boom. And it shows. It shows massively in this film. If you're a fan, I don't really want to say fan, but if you are interested in World War II, if you are, sort of like an aficionado, or probably a better word for that, like, either in the planes or in, the army and the navy, stuff like that, you will like this film. You really will. You will like this film. Now, probably the problems I had with this film. Like I said, it does jump around a lot. So if you are someone who does not like films that jump all over the place, even though they do it very well, and everything links together very well. But if you don't like that stuff, you might not like this film. You might not like it. It's just the way it all sort of interlocks together. I think it can get some people. Like I heard some people in the theater when I was, going out, I couldn't keep up with it. It was too much all over the place, because sometimes they go from day, night, because of the time difference. So that can get some people. I think that can get a lot of people. Then there is the background music. Now, everyone knows like Inception music and Interstellar and, especially, the Dark Knight trilogy and all that. They have these very bassy, very like boom, like dramatic music, right? They have it. It's everyone knows it. Like this is what Nolan films are made for. That's what they're famous for. I don't know if it was like I was in like the big sort of, mega screen, like whatever your equivalent is of your cinema. Like mine's the extreme screen, and it has like the best sound and all that and all the rest of it. Every cinema has their own equivalent of that. that music gets on you by the end of it. And it does not stop. It doesn't stop. As soon as it starts up from the start, it will continue all the way through to the end. It truly does. It doesn't stop. It's not just in dramatic moments or anything like that. It is all the time. And that can get... It can get so much on you. So much on you. It's good, but it's like after like the first hour of it, you're like, okay. And then on top of it, the gunshots and everything like are very real and they're very loud. Like this was obviously like in my cinema that I was watching it in. So it's like pow, boom, boom, boom. And you're like, Jesus Christ. And then like, you know, all the sounds and everything are very realistic and they want you to feel like you're there. And there's a moment where they're in a place that echoes a lot. And like machine gun fire is going off. And it's like, like I can tolerate a lot of sort of loud noises, but this is like, it got to the point where you're like, okay, Mr. Like theater owner, could you just turn it down just a tad, please? That I think that will get a lot of people. So if you don't like loud noises and stuff like that, I'm sorry, you might not like this film. You might not like it. You might need to see it. Don't go to the big like IMAX mega screen thing that you have and wherever you go. You know, it depends on how much you got wherever you are. Just probably don't go to the big sound system one, maybe, if you don't like big loud like sounds. Okay. So yeah, so that stuff, because the movie has so much going on with the cutting and stuff like that, then it has the loud music going all the time and the loud gunshots going everywhere. That's what I mean by intense. It's not like an intense story with lots of real like hard-hitting stuff going on. Like it does, but it doesn't have hard to watch stuff. It's just very much like a lot of sensory stuff is happening. So it can get on you a lot. And that I think that kind of is playing havoc with me of like whether I like this film as much as I want to. But yeah, it's definitely it has its issues. It has its issues. And if you are not a big fan of loud noises, you might not like this. Okay? So then I guess we got to get into the acting. Like, how is the acting? How is all this stuff? Like I said, there's very little dialogue. Very little dialogue in this movie. So you can't really go off of that too much. But what little they do is spot on. It's fantastic. They have a great cast. Like, very good cast of just, you know, it's basically like the Nolan usuals, right? Like Tom Hardy and like that Cillian Murphy and yeah, all those guys. Like there's the typical Nolan movie cast with a few little extras thrown in. Like they had like Harry Styles or whatever his name is. You know, he has him. He's okay. Like he's fine. You know, for what he does, he's fine. You know, like definitely Tom Hardy's great. Though he doesn't really say all too much. He's, you know, the fighter pilot and he's fighter piloting, you know, so you don't hear too much from him. Same with like Cillian Murphy. He plays a very interesting character, so that's worth watching him. Probably the one who speaks the most is Mark Rylance. I'm not sure his name. He's the older guy on the civilian boat that's going to Dunkirk to pick them up that you see in the trailers. He has a lot of good lines, a lot of good stuff and things like that. Like, really the civilian boat story is where majority of this dialogue is. Then you go to kind of the main guy, the guy that they sort of follow when they're doing the sort of on the beach stuff, in Dunkirk. You know, they follow these soldiers that you see running around and stuff in the trailers. I think his name's like Fionn Whitehead. He was okay. He speaks very like only when necessary. It's more what he does. And you know the stuff they have to do to essentially survive. That's really it. So again, you like acting wise, it's all like action like acting. It's all movement. It's all how they, react and move in the moment that happens. So, yeah. And then, you have a whole bunch of, other supporting characters. Like there's an admiral guy who's quite good. And, this sort of the son and a friend, I think, of the civilian ship captain guy that you see. There's also another pilot that goes along with Tom Hardy's character. So there's some good stuff. There's some good stuff all around, and you get some small like extras, like acting that do good jobs too, that they're around for a small amount of time. All good, all fantastic. Like it's very good. They nothing sticks out as like this is wrong. Like it doesn't. Like you go like that was not necessary. It's still like spot on. It was very good. Yeah. Again, like I'll say, it is a freaking masterpiece, right? It's a cinematic, like the cinematography, the like everything that's gone into it, the authenticity, like they literally sink ships in this film, like actual, like they're sinking. Like there's no CG doing it. It's like obviously it's all set up, but they're like real. So there's nothing fake looking about this film. It's all, they've done a great amount of stuff with it. It's so good. Like I said, it's very real. It's got this real, authentic feel to it, which gives like sort of adds to its sort of charm and to its like, it fits into its time period really well. You can feel the desperation in this film from the soldiers trying to get out of Dunkirk. You can feel that desperation. And in that sense, the movie's completely successful at what it's trying to do. Because it's trying to show you what Dunkirk was like. It's trying to show you that and what's happening. So it does a fantastic job of that. Again, it's just like the overload of the sort of the audio, the how loud everything is, how just it's a bit of a sensory overload when it comes to the sound. That kind of threw me a little bit. And then also with the jumping. But then again, like with all the jumping and stuff and basically the time differences and all the different things, and it all manages by the end of the film to come together to one moment. And it all meets at one moment. And they do it fantastically well. They do it very well. Like it's like worthy of praise how good they did it. It was very good. Just if you don't like that stuff, you'll probably not like it. You'll probably not like it. And I heard a lot of people, well, not a lot, but enough to people go like, man, I want to like this film, but it was too hard to follow some places. So for me though, this is a great film. It is a great film. Is it Nolan's greatest? For me, probably not. Like, I really love the Dark Knight trilogy. Like, that's like top notch for me. And I mean, I like Interstellar. Like, it gets a little weird at the end, but I liked Interstellar and how kind of batshit crazy it went. Like, I like that stuff. And the same with Inception. So, but this is like right up there with his, top things. It continues to put, Christopher Nolan as one of the top, probably that top or one of the top directors in the world. Like just at doing these films. It was, I think if another director did this, I don't think he would have got that same overall feel that you got when you came out of the cinema of like, man, I just experienced something. And for some, it's something great. Some, it's like, I'm a little confused. Some is like, yeah. Like, I think for me, though, as I've been talking to you guys and been saying, like, I like this film. I really like this film. I am going back to it. I went with some friends this time. I'm going with my family because me and my dad are big World War II aviation fans. Well, aficionados. So, we always, we've gone to a bunch of air shows and we love those planes and stuff. And he's a big World War II aficionado and stuff like that. So he's very excited for this film. So I'm gonna go with them to see it. I think it's it's got that thrill to it. It's got the action. It's got the hard hitting. It's got all that stuff. I liked it. And I think it is worth your time. It is worth your time to go and see. It's just going to be, I think, like, it's going to be all on how you view it, I guess. I think that's like that with any Nolan film. Like, some people really love Inception and, Interstellar and all that, and some people thought it was just stupid. So I think, like, if you're not into, like, war stuff like this, probably not for you. But if you just want to go and see a movie that's like just a great experience, go and watch it. It is well worth your time. But yeah. All right, guys, that's it for us. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. And I'll catch you next time. Peace. Bye.